Let's get more on the climate talks and the high levels of smog in Beijing and New Delhi. Rachel Cleetus is the lead economist and climate policy manager for the Union of Concerned Scientists, and she's joining me from Paris, where she's attending the climate conference. Rachel, welcome. Before we move to the conference, let me ask you about the pollution problem in Beijing and New Delhi. Explain to our viewers why things are so bad in these cities.
Well, the fact is that in both these cities, Beijing and in New Delhi, we have these very high levels of pollution. They're being caused by coal-fired power, by transportation, and these forms of energy are releasing. They're releasing a lot of pollutants into the air, and what we're hearing about is the smog that's being caused by PM 2.5. That's particulate matter that's being released as pollutants. And right now, specifically in China and Delhi, we're seeing very poor air quality indices. It's really affecting people with breathing and heart problems, contributing to premature death, and young people and elderly are particularly susceptible.
Beijing has implemented a number of measures: school closed, car use restricted, outdoor construction halted. Not so much in New Delhi. It seems as life is going on as normal. How important is it for India to take also some of these measures?
Yeah, New Delhi is trying to implement some emergency measures, as we heard earlier, about odd and even number car license plates being allowed on different days of the week. But these are all emergency measures, both in New Delhi and in China. What we need are truly long-term measures that help reduce the sources of these pollutants so that citizens of these countries can breathe easier and breathe cleaner air.
So, Rachel, let me ask you, what are some of the long-term solutions and how realistic and feasible are they?
Well, the interesting thing is we're here at a climate conference in Paris, and many of the solutions that would contribute to lowering the pollutants that cause climate change could also help us lower these other pollutants that are contributing to poor air quality. And what I mean by that is when we burn fossil fuels like coal, we release carbon, but we also release sulfur dioxide, nitrogen oxides, particulate matter, all of which contribute to poor air quality and health concerns. So by transitioning to cleaner forms of energy, we can have a double win. We can address climate change. We can also help lower these air quality pollutants.
And that, of course, costs money. How much of that is an issue between developing countries and developed ones?
Well, the interesting thing is both India and China have embarked on a very aggressive policy to ramp up the amount of renewable energy in their energy mix. They're both implementing energy efficiency policies. There were leaders in deploying these technologies and in manufacturing these technologies. What we need to do is accelerate this transition to cleaner energy. China, for example, is committed to peaking its carbon emissions. Many experts say it has peaked coal consumption already. India is not yet quite there. It has more development to do. It is a poorer country, but it also has a very aggressive solar program. And through the deployment of these renewable energy technologies, we can expect a transition in both these countries over time. We also need cleaner transportation options like mass transit, like cleaner burning fuels for vehicles.
And Rachel, very quickly, are you optimistic there will be a final binding agreement before this conference is over?
We're all still very optimistic. The mood here, I would say, is cautiously optimistic. There is a draft text. There are certainly areas of concern around the text, particularly around climate finance and the issue of differentiation between developed and developing countries. Nevertheless, all parties seem like they have a full trust and faith in the COP presidency from France. And there's a lot of work to do in the next couple of days, but we're all pretty hopeful that there will be an agreement coming out of Paris.
All right, Rachel Cleetus, thank you so much for your time and expertise.